More cultural update right here on Focus today. The tradition of gamelan Javanese music has long cultural backgrounds. Its history is inseparable with shadow puppetry, an extraordinary form of storytelling, which is performed as both sacred art and entertainment. This ethnical and traditional performance is still so much in demand in Indonesia. But in a rare opportunity, a professional Javanese gamelan ensemble, Sari Raras, has just performed at the University of California in Berkeley, United States. Here we are now, we have Lisa Ho, an academic director at UC Berkeley, and a dancer with Sari Raras, to know more about the performance which took place last Sunday. Hello, Lisa. Thank you so much for joining us. We understand that it's actually pretty late over there in California, so we truly appreciate you being here with us.
Thank you, Siska. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to talk with you.
Now, I would like to go straight to my questions to you about gamelan and the puppetry show. But first, could you please tell us more about the performance? Who organized the event?
Sure. Last Sunday was a wonderful wayang kulit performance where UC Berkeley's Gamelan Sari Raras was joined by Sanggar Sari Laras from Java. We had 4 professional wayang performers, Dalang Ki Gunarto, Guno Tali Jendro, and a wonderful Gender and Demung player, Pak Sutendri Yusuf, a gong player and composer, Mas Dunung Basuki, and drummer Mas Angger Widi Asmoro. All of them flew into San Francisco last week just for this show, and there hasn't been an opportunity to see a group of professional wayang performers on the US West Coast for decades, probably since the 1990s. At Berkeley, we have a wayang kulit performance every spring because one of our founders and musical directors, Pak Midianto, is a gifted dalang himself. But it was an unexpected and amazing turn of events when we were contacted by PAPADI, the Persatuan Pedalangan Indonesia, with the offer to have this concert bringing Sanggar Sari Laras to Berkeley to celebrate PAPADI's 52nd anniversary together with Gamelan Sari Raras.
Wow, sounds like quite an eventful Sunday, yeah, you just had. Now, if I'm not mistaken, the Shadow Puppet Show on Sunday also featured a chapter of the Ramayana epic. Now, who chose that specific story and why?
Correct. This was a performance of the main storyline from the Ramayana epic told in the Wayang Padat format, which differs from a normal Wayang Kulit performance in that it's short. Ours was only 90 minutes compared to the typical all-nighter. And also the musical accompaniment runs nonstop, the whole performance without extended dialogue or comedy scenes. So our guests from Papadi selected the story and composed and arranged the music. I imagine they picked the Ramayana story because it's fairly straightforward and understandable for audiences.
All right, now could you tell us more about the audience? Like, who are the people who attended the event?
Being on the UC Berkeley campus, of course, we had students, especially those who are taking Javanese and Balinese gamelan classes. They were in the audience, but I understand we had a sold-out auditorium. So we clearly had a lot of people throughout the San Francisco Bay Area who read about the concert in news and online event calendars or heard about it on the radio and recognized that this was a special performance not to be missed.
Okay, now you mentioned that there are 2 very similar names, Sari Laras and Sari Raras. So just to make sure we don't confuse our viewers, I'd like to focus on Sari Raras, which is part of the UC Berkeley, in which you are a member in the ensemble. Now, could you tell us more about how long you've been a part of Sari Raras?
Oh, it's probably been 7 or 8 years, maybe 10 years that I've been a member of Sari Raras. We're a community gamelan group which rehearses separately from the classes for UC Berkeley students. And the instruments we perform on are named Gamelan Kiai Udan Mas, which was the instrument, the ensemble was made in Java in the 20th century, early 20th century, and donated to UC Berkeley's Department of Music by Sam and Louise Scripps. And they were generous patrons of the arts who pursued a mission of bringing Asian performing arts to the American public.
Okay, so the members are a mixture of Indonesians and Americans who basically love gamelan music, Javanese traditional music, and also a puppetry show.
Yes. So we have both Indonesians from the Wayang diaspora, from the Indonesian diaspora, some studying here temporarily, some born here in the US, who enjoy this connection to their ethnic roots. And we have some current and former members of Pak Medianto's classes who want to continue playing. And we have ethnomusicology and composition PhDs who have intensively studied and who even teach gamelan themselves. And we have others like me who just love gamelan music.
Okay. Now, I'd like to know more actually about your personal experience. You are a scholar at US Berkeley, and we know that you're very fond of the Javanese gamelan music and traditional dance. Can you share with us, when did this infatuation with Javanese traditional culture begin?
Yeah, I direct a cybersecurity master's degree now, but when I was an undergraduate, I studied Western classical flute at UCLA.
Okay.
And one day I just happened to hear gongs and metallophones echoing through the music building hallways. I stepped into the performance auditorium and I saw what seemed like a huge human machine on the stage with people hammering and knocking and drumming and all different tempos, but with everything synchronized. It felt like I was inside a giant human grandfather clock workshop with all the interwoven musical lines, like different sized gears moving together. I was awestruck and then started playing with the group, and then took my junior year abroad to study in Yogyakarta. And while there, I met a really nice Indonesian guy who took me to see a wayang kulit performance at the Keraton Alun-Alun Selatan. And he was willing to stay with me until it was finished and over. So now he's my husband. So you can say I have a special place in my heart for wayang kulit.
Wow, that's amazing, Lisa. I could truly hear the passion in how you describe how the love with Javanese gamelan started. But not only a dancer with Sari Raras, you're also a member of the Balinese Gamelan Sekarjaya Ensemble. Now, could you tell us more about that? And which one you think is better suited for the Western audience between Javanese and Balinese, and why?
Oh, wow. Well, both are incredibly rich and beautiful artistic traditions. I admire them both. I've spent much more time studying Javanese gamelan and dance, so my appreciation and ability to understand the nuances of Javanese music and dance are more sophisticated. I'm still just a very beginner with Balinese music. Both are amazing for Western audiences. They have very different feel, lots of variety in each style. And so there's no end of the possibilities for Western audiences to enjoy Javanese and gamelan, Balinese gamelan.
Of course, we as Indonesians are also very proud of the Javanese and the Balinese traditional dances and music. But we also care about the preservation. Now, I would love to know what you think about how the people in Indonesia and everywhere in the world can help to preserve this beautiful culture.
Yeah, when you talk about preservation, both have long traditions and really dynamic, evolving futures. So recording and preserving tradition is valuable, but I actually think more about the ongoing enrichment of the art form. The social and cultural essence embedded in these communal art forms are really what brings them meaning. And when Indonesians think about what's important to their sense of identity, whether it's the community aspect or the sense of place, I hope they see and nurture that meaning in their artistic traditions, whether they're artists or participants or audiences.
All right, Lisa, last question, because there's a big chance that this conversation between us will be seen by people everywhere in the world, including in Berkeley, hopefully. Can you tell us more about Sari Raras' schedule on performing? Maybe you can tell us when is the nearest event?
We have a concert every spring and fall semester here on our campus. Sometimes we have a side event here or there, but there's always a chance to come and enjoy gamelan and sometimes a wayang at UC Berkeley. And there are other gamelan groups around in the Bay Area as well, Gamelan Sekarjaya, Gamelan Gadun Kasturi, just to mention two Balinese music ensembles also.
All right, Lisa Ho, thank you so much for coming into our program and telling us about your love of the Javanese gamelan traditional music. We truly appreciate your passion into it and also your time being here. Thank you and best of luck for the next concert for Sari Raras. Send my best regards to everyone there.
Thank you, Siska.